think smoking always affected my daily life because I was a closet smoker. It really sort of controlled my entire day. My boss is the one that recommended Juul, so I decided to give it a try. You don't get any of the odor of smoking. There's no ash all over your car. I would say give it a try.
Get the flavor and satisfaction of smoking without the mess of cigarette ash or lingering odor. Switch to Juul. Check out JUUL.com/sports. If you don't smoke or vape, don't start.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Oh, punches a throw!
I got put in a situation where I got suspended.
3 people were found guilty of paying money to players.
This makes me very nervous when I got to go run around, drop cash off to people I don't know.
Has signed with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, that's LeBron James' agency, and has a $1 million internship. What are you doing? Clock management and the little details, he was terrible at.
If only the Giants had a running back that they could hand it to instead of having Eli Manning.
Adam Silver's running the league now. It makes David Stern come off in a bad light.
First time in the Super Bowl era, the NFL has fired a game official during the season.
Braden Holtby, a few minutes ago, trying to give those kids the puck. Look at the grown-up. Snatch the puck away. Look at Holtby just staring down.
What a week in sports it was. A World Series underway, college basketball getting slammed on a different court, and fight night in the NBA, and we're just getting started. Welcome to the Friday Four. I'm Ryan Smith in for Bob Lee. A lot happening these days, especially this week. Let's get right to it. Doug Kezirian, ESPN sports betting analyst, who's going to bet if Dell Demps is running a league, he's not going to be honoring David Stern anytime soon. Kate Fagan is here to show that once again FIFA won't be winning any Sports League of the Year awards anytime soon. And Chiney Ogwumike, who's got a league on the come-up, led by one of its biggest stars. Maybe that guy should run FIFA. First, though, our big story of the week. A shot fired across the bow of college basketball with the fraud conviction of 3 basketball insiders, Adidas executive Jim Gatto and Merrill Code, and basketball middleman Christian Dawkins for their involvement in the college basketball recruiting scandal. The case is the first of 3 brought by the government against college basketball insiders for allegedly paying recruits to attend schools like Louisville and Kansas. Now, 2 takeaways from this trial. Shocking to some, but not to many insiders, the trial revealed the seedy underbelly of college recruiting. And perhaps more importantly, second thing here, it showed that these pay-or-play deals aren't just dirty dealing, but actual crimes, punishable with prison time. So how did the government prove their case with mounds of evidence, including wiretaps obtained by outside the lines involving some of the insiders here, according to the government, helping to show just how the recruiting game is played?
Coach, Jim Gatto with Adidas. Hope all is well. Sorry to bother you over the weekend, but I just got a call about a player I want to discuss with you. So when you get a chance, if you can call me. Thanks, Coach. Bye-bye.
I've never met anybody like you, seriously. It's never going to be cheaper going from Louisville to New York City and Louisville, babe. I've never met anybody like you. Just spend the money. You about to get some racks. I just don't know how to get back. I don't know how you're going to get back on this plane with that, though. I'll be honest.
All right, so listen, this makes me very nervous when I got to go run around, drop cash off to people I don't know. I know you know him, and especially a lot of money, so we can't do again, my man.
I think that everybody's being a little more nervous than need to be.
That's it right there in a nutshell. If you're a prosecutor, that's like gold to you. Right there. Everybody's saying exactly what you're trying to prove in court. So here's my question, all of you. What do you think the implications of this decision are? Because this is a huge thing, you would think, but will anything change?
The easiest response there is no. Because if we look in the rearview mirror, we don't see college sports changing all that much. We still see this call to end the kind of amateurism that the NCAA has been propagating for at least the last 50 plus years, and in the last 10, it's really come to the forefront. So I think easily you can say, do we fast forward 10 years and we think things have radically changed? No. But I do think we have to pay attention that the NCAA is very different in what it allows its student athletes now compared to 10 or 15 years ago. If you just look at the small breaks in the armor there of now families get paid, not paid, but they get chunks of money to come to bowl games or to come to NCAA tournaments.
There's those are things bending there.
Those are things that were unheard of. And so if you look at this, the case with the FBI that is showing us a lot of the seedy underbelly, as you put it, Ryan, plus you've got the Basley info coming about the $1 million deal to New Balance. You're seeing all of these cracks in what's going on at the NCAA. I do think that we are seeing some of these, like, the little inlets in the NCAA that I think over the next 10, 20 years, we're not going to recognize the NCAA.
But how much change will come? Because you alluded to it earlier. It's sort of like, what's your initial reaction when you see this story? It's like, we kind of see it coming. You alluded to it as well.
Yeah.
It's that we kind of, people who know anything about college sports know that this exists, Chiney.
And the initial reaction that I had is very, very personal. Because people see the headlines, people see the names, people see guilty, but they don't necessarily see the people. I know Jim Gatto. Jim Gatto, a lot of people have said, an Adidas executive, they've referenced that a lot in articles. Jim Gatto has been a great influence, not only on my life, but on the lives of a lot of WNBA players. He signed me, my sister, and a couple of other WNBA athletes to Adidas during a time when we're really trying to fight for our value in the sport. Granted, he's a part of this system that is really, quote unquote, corrupt, but these guys are actually individuals that have created positive change. Granted, they've played with the rules, but Jim Gatto is a guy that I've known and I've trusted, and he has done great things for the sport. It's just that this is the corruption was normal.
So then what do you think when you saw that conviction, when you saw that laid bare, including that wiretap information? What was your reaction?
Because I don't think, and I don't know how many of us agree, like, I don't think that means Gatto's a bad dude, because the NCAA system is one that when people do bend the rules, I'm kind of like, well, of course you're bending the rules.
Yeah, he's not a bad dude. A lot of corruption
but
throughout.
But he's still doing a bad thing.
He's one of the few getting punished. If the public opinion
says one thing, it is against the rules.
It's against the rules that really, I understand I'm not going to get into the wire fraud. I'm not a lawyer like Ryan, but at the same time, you're saying that guys who deserve money are getting money for a talent that they bring to the table. If you just strip it away to that, I'm not as upset about it. I understand that there are.
The problem in some of that is it's going to be, say, there's an uneven playing field, that people are getting paid, others are not, and that's not fair, and that's not supposed to be what the NCAA is about. But I really am interested in this. What did you think then when you heard Gatto on those tapes and you saw this result?
I was heartbroken. I really was heartbroken, because I know that this is just the way things have been for a long time, and it's not the way things should be. But then again, this man, Jim Gatto, is a guy, he's one of few that are getting punished, that are now being the poster children of NCAA corruption, and it has a real life effect. So when people see articles and say, oh, these guys are bad, they're not the only ones, but they are the few getting punished.
But isn't it worse that the names we do know, not just the one you know, but the one all of us know, like Coach K and Boeheim and Roy Williams, the ones that have been asked about it, kind of just brush it off and don't try to address it. No big deal. So it doesn't, like, they're just trying to sweep it under the rug and let business go on as usual.
Yeah, people are getting guilty verdicts.
I'm sure that they see that now the face of this seedier underbelly has been pinned to a small selection of people, one who Chiney happens to know.
But it's been going on at their institutions. They just don't want to draw attention to themselves. But they know.
Of course they know, but why not let the blame sit with these few who are being paraded through the media?
So it doesn't come on me.
Meanwhile, young men are getting also $1 million internships on the side to get a professional pathway to the NBA
All of this to the point that I think that we are, like, although I don't think we're going to fast forward 5 years and be like, the NCAA is radically different. I mean, we are clearly heading to a different product.
Right. So incremental change, you think it's a means to an end, if you will, of the big change?
Life finds a way, as Jay Billy said.
Well, you know what's really interesting about this? You have to start thinking that when you think of the NCAA, what is their value right now? It is enforcement of the rules. That's what they're focused on. If they can't enforce their own rules, they're irrelevant.
Yeah.
Will the NCAA even matter in 10
and
years?
if you go down that line of thought, will the NCAA matter? Well, you're going to need some level of oversight for college sports, for the programs who might say, the NCAA now has a tarnished name and we need to set up our own form of quote-unquote government. Well, then whoever breaks off on that, they're going to have totally different rules for what they want.
Right. Well, think about it. The NCAA is not going to be the one punishing itself. Think about all the major scandals we've seen over the years. It's all because of Outside the Lines, ESPN, Yahoo Sports with Reggie Bush and the Heisman Trophy.
Mostly us, though.
It's never NCAA slapping their own wrist and getting ahead of it. They want, as I said earlier, business as usual, because life is good internally if they focus on the things that only
the
they care about.
NCAA won't be irrelevant, but it definitely needs to be reset.
Yes.
Will they reset, though? Because what's interesting here is you look at a case like this, one of the things the government may be doing is sort of putting out that warning shot. Anybody out there who's doing this kind of dealing, we are going to charge you with fraud. We are going to come after you. We're cleaning up this industry. So they are essentially trying to have their impact on the industry. What surprises me in all of this is college basketball teams aren't looking at this and saying, we could go to jail. We need to change that. I don't know if we can pay these guys anymore if this stuff is actually going on. My question for you guys is that going to happen? Or are people looking at the penalties here and saying,
Well, either two ways it's going to go, that the FBI is trying to, quote unquote, clean it up. And then do we really believe that the FBI is just going to be perpetually going to be investigating college sports? Because it's not going to get cleaned up if you're just saying that there's going to be some wiretaps. A few people will go to jail for a couple of years.
The hammer has to be dropped.
Yeah, either the NCAA
of this investigation.
Right. The NCAA either has to say, like, we need to fully change our ways and need to radically change how we do business, because or we're just going to have FBI investigations every 5 years.
Meanwhile, we're having alternative solutions being brought to the table, the G League professional pathway, and then we have this internship with Darius Bosney, I think, with New Balance Baisley. So, they have a lot of factors to weigh, the NCAA.
Right. And right now, their official line has been, we're waiting to see what happens, investigating a lot of what we've heard from the NCAA in the past. All right. Well, coming up, a new league on the rise. And what happens when fans get left hanging?
Bad.
It's like, come on. Underreported stories and villains next.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Hey, Doug.
We don't hang. We don't leave each other.
I think smoking always affected my daily life because I was a closet smoker. It really sort of controlled my entire day. My boss is the one that recommended Juul, so I decided to give it a try. You don't get any of the odor of smoking. There's no ash all over your car. I would say give it a try.
Get the flavor and satisfaction of smoking without the mess of cigarette ash or lingering odor. Switch to Juul. Check out JUUL.com/sports. If you don't smoke or vape, don't start.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Outside the Lines is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk underreported stories. And if what's going on with the NCAA doesn't blow your mind, what coaches are doing in the NFL will.
This is a topic very near and dear to my heart. And I'm not saying NFL coaches are idiots. I'm saying they're doing idiotic things.
I like that.
And it really bothers me how they haven't figured out that possession is so much more valuable than like 30 to 40 yards on the field, especially with the advancement of offenses and how easy it is to move the ball, whether there be penalties, and just the fact that the passing games are so much more advanced. Last night, Miami Dolphins down 15 in the fourth quarter, 4th and 4, kick a field goal. How? You still need 2 touchdowns. What does that do for you? It's mind-boggling that Adam Gase made that call. We see with Pat Shurmur, everyone made all this hoopla about the going for 2 down 14 that made it when the touchdown made it 8. But it's more the clock management at the end of the first half. They operate in a vacuum. They're doing archaic things that we have learned, whether it be analytics or just common sense and game theory. That is not the optimal decision, but they're still doing it because they're coaching scared, and that's the way it's always been done.
Or if it doesn't work out on 4th down, aren't they worried about getting skewered by the fans?
Right.
Why don't you do the field goal?
Right, it's archaic because they don't have to answer questions. Bill Belichick showed us in, 2009 when he went for it against the Colts, up 3 or whatever it was, 4th and 3 on his own 30. That was the right decision. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last year being aggressive.
Seahawks.
Not reckless.
Yep.
Right, not reckless, aggressive, and being smart about it. I swear all these coaches should be mandated to play Madden video game just to understand how to manage
What a terrible
timeout.
sentence.
Learn coaching through Madden. All right, Kate. FIFA is usually in our villains, but I guess they graduated to underreported.
Oh, they're still the villain. They're just an underreported villain. So wait, I'm doing underreported. My underreported is how FIFA is a villain for scheduling 2 other major final tournaments on the day of the Women's World Cup final. Now, I cannot hammer home this point enough because it's 9 months away, the Women's World Cup final, July in France, and there is still time to change this ludicrous decision by FIFA. So you've got the Copa America and the Gold Cup final men's tournaments that have the final on the same day as the Women's World Cup final. This is not precedent either. The 2015 Women's World Cup final had its own day. And now I understand there's other women's sports where you could say, well, look, it hasn't earned the place of having this exclusive day.
You're sitting next to me right now.
Right. I'm like, look, I'm not going to name other women's sports. And as a former female athlete, it hurts me to say that there are moments when I'm like, look, maybe that hasn't established itself enough. Mm-hmm. But if there's any sport and moment that has established itself, it is the Women's World Cup, which remains the most watched soccer match in U.S. television history. 31 million people for the 2015 Women's World Cup Finals. So don't tell me these women don't deserve their own day. And I'm sorry I went way over my time.
I love this. It's apples to apples. It's soccer to soccer. It's not like it's the NBA scheduling across it. It's soccer. They're in the family. They should at least be aware of it.
They can call those other tournaments and say, move it.
And this is a perfect segue because the institution has a problem, but players are finally acting. You think about LeBron creating his own school, NFL, the Players Coalition. Well, Paul Rabel, I met him at Steph Curry's Players Tech Summit. And instantly I felt like, oh, this guy's a genius. And then I also discovered he's the Michael Jordan-esque of lacrosse.
Okay.
He is creating his own professional lacrosse league, outdoor lacrosse, doing this behind backers. You know, he went to Johns Hopkins, but he's one of the leading figures in lacrosse. And so basically he's created his own lacrosse league. Now get this. They will offer full-time wages. They will offer benefits. And they will offer the players equity in their league, the Premier Lacrosse League. So when I met him, I was like, he's going to do great things. He already is. For a WNBA player to see players and other athletes take a full investment into their craft, it's a good sign, but what Paul is doing is really game-changing. He's like, okay, I don't like this institution right here. We're going to change it ourselves.
And lacrosse participation is way up among young kids. They're playing it more and more. I am going to be watching that league. Love the sport.
Absolutely.
Want to see that happen. All right, let's talk about villains. And Kate.
I'll go quick because I know I gobbled up a lot of time.
No, it's okay because this one deserves some.
But we didn't just do
villain
it with
part two.
No, it was a combo. No, I have another good villain here, and that is the independent commission that Maryland assigned to investigate its football program. Now, yesterday, the commission came back with its findings. And let me point out also that a lot of members of the independent commission were graduates of Maryland. So they had a vested interest in how this thing turned out. And the commission comes back and says that they didn't find a quote-unquote toxic culture. And then they go on to delineate a number of events that, in my mind, 100% representative of what a toxic culture would be. Mm-hmm. Things like homophobic comments, players saying that they didn't feel able to speak out about how they were being treated. I mean, these are all...
Trash cans of vomit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
insane. It lists so much behavior that created an unsafe environment. So what could be a toxic culture if not that? So that commission to me and what that report represented and found is just, it's severely lacking in terms of how they
called it
put it into perspective.
A culture where problems festered. But it's not a toxic culture.
Not a culture.
Here we will go once again mincing words like that.
A little delusional.
Yeah. Doug, you've got a guy who a lot of people consider to be a hero in NBA circles. Now he's a villain.
Yeah, out of left field, David Stern. And it's one thing to, he's still a figurehead in the NBA. He's still connected to the NBA even after his stewardship. But then he's just calling out players and former GMs, rather. Dell Demps going after the Pelicans GM. Now, as a Laker fan... This is sensitive. The Chris Paul trade that was nixed. I'll never forgive David Stern. But that comes with the territory. You just have to accept the criticism. But he defends it and then goes on the offense. Dell Demps is a lousy general manager, and none of those players are currently with the team anymore. And he may lose Anthony Davis.
Wow.
What's up with this?
Can I give him hero cred, though?
Unnecessary.
He's speaking like a fan.
Now, that's true,
like a fan.
and we want transparency. We complain when athletes and commissioners in this case give us cliches and give us nothing. So we want that transparency.
Mm-hmm. That's too much.
But I just think it's poor. I think it's poor form. And I think it's jealousy of all the praise that Adam Silver's getting. He's been a little fragile over the years, a little defensive. I think he went on the offense.
And speaking of your Lakers, I have a great villain. Yes. So obviously we could talk about the brawl that happened between the Lakers and the Rockets, but I'm just going to sidestep this. Even a worse travesty happened. So a fan hit a half-court shot to win $30,000. Living his best life. Check it out. Shot goes up, nothing but now on the way down. He's living his best life. Now, when you do something of that magnitude, a lot of times NBA players will celebrate with you. So he goes to the Lakers sideline. Nope. Got left
And he gives him the wave off. It's okay, man.
Security out there.
Now you would think that, hey, maybe they never celebrate. Well, this is actually fake news because actually, check out this over-shoulder hook shot. And LeBron James is there tackling. So the Lakers, they were double villains. Not only was Brandon Ingram a villain for his responsibility in the brawl, but their whole team needs to catch the teeth. I don't care if you haven't won a game.
He'd already seen it before.
It's done.
This time,
it's done. That's not part of the prize.
That was tragic.
All right, let me give you a villain. This is from a Capitals game, and I want to ask, what's going on with the Capitals? Washington folks, please let me know. Take a look at this video. Braden Holtby has got the puck there. He's giving it to a kid. I mean, this is the third time this has happened this year. An adult grabs it, and he's smiling. He's laughing. But look at the stare down from Holtby. Look at it.
That's the best part.
What are you doing, man? And then he's got to look at the kid. He's like, please, can I have a puck? This is my one dream in life.
At least the guy who caught the puck isn't like super old. He looked like he was maybe a little more than a teenager.
Yeah, we were talking maybe 20.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Why are you mixing words?
Oh, sorry.
Why are these guys stealing pucks from children?
Well, no, here's the thing. And just the lack of self-awareness to realize the puck was going for the... Why is he so fixated on that puck? Why is it so valuable? What's the utility of that?
And we should talk about that while the break happens. In the meantime, keep it right here. How do you get Le'Veon back? And I promise you, one of the best videos you've ever seen.
Yes!
Yep.
I'm not an animal person, and I'm here for this.
I'm not an animal person.
Geico presents eyewitness interviews with inanimate objects.
This is Belinda Collins, live on the scene of a recent lightning storm. Here to describe the event, a TV tray.
I was watching football and holding a plate of meatloaf when kabam! A bolt of lightning slams into the apartment, blowing out the TV and surround sound.
Anything you could have done to help?
Ma'am, I'm a foldable table, not an electrician.
Your TV tray can't help you in a lightning storm, but the Geico Insurance Agency can help you get covered for personal property damage. Go to geico.com to see how affordable renter's insurance can be.
Tomorrow, noon Eastern on ABC, freshman quarterback Trevor Lawrence and the number 2 Clemson Tigers are in Tallahassee to take on Florida State. Tigers, winners of their last 3 against the Noles. And Lawrence has thrown 12 TDs against 2 INTs. You can always watch everything on the ESPN app from anywhere, by the way. And SportsCenter at 6 Eastern. After PTI, Sage and Kevin, live report from the World Series, plus how the Knicks can land Kevin Durant.
Oh, wow.
And season on the line for the Eagles and Jags when they meet in London Sunday. SportsCenter 6 Eastern after
already
PTI.
Punting on this season.
They tried it.
Let's talk heroes. You got the NFL.
Yeah, not a regular participant in the heroes section, but the NFL because... they claim they want transparency. They are finding all the players. Well, finally they're doing it on their own end. Here's a video of a ridiculously missed false start by official Hugo Cruz a couple weeks ago. For the first time ever in the Super Bowl era, the NFL has fired an official mid-season. And this is obviously for performance-based reasons, not just this missed call. Look, it's the highest of the highest levels, right? They demand the players adjust for safety reasons. They're demanding that. I demand the coaches, right? So it's the officials have to be held accountable too.
This makes sense. We've seen players retire, at halftime. So
it all is coming together. Now you can do everything mid-game. It's cool. Juju Smith-Schuster is my hero. You know why? Because I don't know if you heard this story. He bought over 100 Mega Millions tickets. Why? He was hopeful that would help pay for Le'Veon Bell to come back. Yeah, I love this guy. See, it's not just about riding the bike.
Right.
He's going to win the lottery and get Le'Veon Bell. But if you win $1.6 billion, just buy the team.
That's
Share
true.
it with everybody.
Exactly.
Share it with everybody. Well, I've got the Phoenix Suns because they're still searching for a win on and off the court, okay? So a young child, Teddy Manzini, I believe is his name, he had a 6th birthday party, and here's the photo.
This is so sad.
No one came. Now, apparently there were supposed to be 15 RSVPs. So the Suns, this was in Tucson, Arizona. The Suns said, hey, we'll have a birthday party with you. So he went, had courtside seats, had the best day ever. So the Phoenix Suns, to me, are definitely a hero. But I know.
We need an investigation onto whether or not that was staged. I'm just saying.
It is not.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's move on because I have...
As long as the kid is happy, we're good with it.
Kid is happy.
I'm happy. Listen, you guys, I'm my own hero for bringing the best dog video that was on the internet just of this week. Just take a look here. Doing what we all want to do.
This might be this month.
Yes.
This might be
Let's run it back. Look.
Yes.
The door is barely
That's how we all feel about a big pile of
I'm not
meat.
an animal person, but that won me over.
There's nothing like that.
That won me over.
If you want to be happy, run into a pile of leaves. We'll see you next week.
Believe it.